Hi everyone, and welcome to the part 11 of our AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner series. So, without further ado, let's get started with the questions and answer. So, question number one is that a company wants to store and retrieve files in Amazon S3 for its existing on-premises application by using industry standard file system protocols. Which AWS service will meet these requirements? And the options are option A, Amazon S3 File Gateway, option B, Amazon or AWS Snowball Edge, option C, AWS Data Sync, and option D, AWS Transfer Family. And the correct option is Amazon S3 File Gateway. So, what is Amazon S3 File Gateway? So, Amazon S3 File Gateway provides a seamless way to connect to the cloud in order to store application data files and backup images as durable objects in Amazon S3 Cloud Storage. Amazon S3 File Gateway offers SMB or NFS based access to the data in the Amazon S3 with local caching. It can be used for on premises data intensive Amazon EC2 based applications that need file protocol access to S3 object storage. So let's visualize it in this diagram. So the requirement is that we have on-premise application. This is our on-premise, and this is, let's suppose, our application server, and we want to store the store and retrieve data from Amazon S3, but using the existing on-premise industry standard protocol. So what service should we use to achieve this? And the answer is the Amazon File Gateway. So here we can see that the Amazon File Gateway, and this can be in the form of an EC2 instance, or it can be a hardware appliance inside your on-premise, and then this file gateway will connect to the AWS cloud through HTTPS protocol, and it will talk to the storage gateway service and help you retrieve the data from Amazon S3. Question number two is that a company wants to block SQL injection attacks. Which AWS service or feature should the company use to meet these requirements? And the options are AWS WAF Web Application Firewall, option B, security groups. Option B, network ACLs, access control list. And option D, AWS Certificate Manager, ACM. And the correct option is the Amazon WAF or Web Application Firewall can be used to block the web exploits and web attacks such as the SQL injection, cross-site scripting, etc. And it is the WAF is a web application firewall that helps you protect your website and web application against various attack actors at the application layer, that is OSI layer 7. And this is the visual of how this AWS WAF works. So it is basically installed or deployed to the AWS Firewall Manager, and then it inspects all the traffic that goes to the Amazon CloudFront, to the application load balancers, Amazon API Gateway, and AWS AppSync. And how this works? So you basically create a policy inside this AWS WAF. Using the policy, you block and filter certain type of traffic, such as the SQL injection attacks, and then you monitor the blog traffic or the attack attempts. So this is the working of AWS Web Application Firewall. Question number three is that a company wants a unified tool to provide a consistent method to interact with AWS services. Which AWS service or tool will meet this requirement? And the keywords are that unified tool that provides consistent method to interact with AWS services. And the options are option A, AWS Cloud9, option B, AWS CLI, option C, AWS Virtual Private Network, that is AWS VPN, and option D, Amazon Elastic Container Service, Amazon ECS. And the correct option is that the Amazon CLI command line interface. This can be used to interact with the AWS services, and the AWS command line interface or CLI, it basically provides the unified tool to manage your AWS services directly from the command line. And this is just a visual. Let me get back. This is the visual of the AWS CLI. So here we can see that, let's suppose, for example, if you want to create a new user through the this CLI, then this can be created using this command. So besides the GUI or the console interface, the web console interface, you can also use the Amazon CLI to manage the AWS services. Question number 4 is that a web developer is concerned that a DDoS, distributed denial of service attack, could target an application. Which AWS service or features can help protect against such an attack? And we have to choose two options. And the options are option A, AWS CloudTrail, option B, AWS Shield, option B, Amazon CloudFront, and option D, AWS Support Center. And the correct options are AWS Shield and Amazon CloudFront. So these are the AWS Shield is basically a managed distributed denial of service protection service. So the Shield is basically designed for the protection against the DDoS attacks that safeguards application running on AWS. It provides dynamic detection and automatic inline migration that minimize application downtime and latency. While Amazon CloudFront is basically a content delivery network service built for high performance security and developer convenience. Question number 5 is that which AWS Trusted Advisor check is available to all AWS users? And the options are option A, all checks, option B, core checks, option C, fault tolerance checks, and option D, cost optimization checks. And the correct option is core checks. So the core checks, this text box is basically not related to the question. So ignore this. So the core checks are basically the checks inside the trusted advisor that are available to all the users. Question number 6 is that a user has limited knowledge of AWS services but wants to quickly deploy a scalable Node.js application in the AWS cloud. Which service should be used to deploy the application? And the options are option A, the AWS Elastic Beanstalk, option B, AWS Cloud Formation, option C, Amazon EC2, and option D, AWS OpsWorks. And the correct option is the AWS Elastic Beanstalk. So the AWS Elastic Beanstalk, this service can be used to quickly deploy a scalable Node.js application. And what is it? The Elastic Beanstalk, it helps you deploy and manage web application with capacity provisioning, app application health monitoring, and more. Question number 7 is that which AWS service offer compute capabilities, and we have to choose two options, and the options are option A, Amazon S3, option B, Amazon EC2, option C, Amazon Cognito, and option D, Amazon or AWS Lambda. So the correct options are Amazon S3 and Amazon Lambda. I think the correct options are, I don't think so that the Amazon S3 provide the compute capability. Amazon S3 is basically the storage. It is the Amazon storage service. So this option is not correct. It is basically the Amazon EC2 and the Amazon or AWS Lambda. So EC2 is basically the go-to compute instance that is used by most of the services, while the Amazon Lambda, it is basically an event-driven serverless computing platform provided by Amazon as part of Amazon Web Services. It is designed to enable developers to run code without provisioning or managing servers. So the correct options are the option B, Amazon EC2 instance, and AWS Lambda, which is a serverless compute. The Amazon S3 is basically not a compute, but instead it is the storage service object storage provided by AWS. Question number 8 is that which AWS service or feature requires an internet service provider IPS and a co-location facility to be implemented? And the options are option A, Amazon Connect, option B, AWS VPN, option C, AWS Direct Connect, and option D, Internet Gateway. And the correct option is the AWS Direct Connect. So AWS Direct Connect, it is basically a physical locality where the customer or user can connect his network to the AWS through this Amazon Direct Connect. So here we can see that we have the customer router or firewall, and it is connected to the AWS Direct Connect, and this must be a co-location. It must be near to the customer or inside the customer premise. And again, to connect to the AWS cloud, you need the internet connection. So you also will require the ISP or internet service provider, and you can connect to the AWS cloud through the AWS Direct Connect using the IPsec VPN or through VLAN tagging, depending upon your requirement. Question number 9 is that which AWS service allows customer to purchase unused Amazon EC2 capacity at an often discounted rate? And the options are option A, spot instance, option B, dedicated instance, option C, on-demand instance, and option D, reserved instance. And the correct option is the spot instance. So the spot instance is basically the unused compute capacity that can be offered to the customer at the discounted rate. This is the definition that an AWS EC2 Spot instance is an unused EC2 instance which is available for less than the on-demand price. So we have on-demand instances, but the Spot instances is cheaper than the on-demand instances. Spot instances are up to 90% cheaper than the on-demand instances. And the question number 10 is that a company wants to be notified when its AWS cloud cost or usage exceed defined threshold. Which AWS service will support these requirements? And the options are option A, Cost Explorer, option B, AWS Budgets, option C, AWS Cloud Trail, and option D, Amazon Message. And the correct option is the AWS budgets. So AWS budgets can be used to notify yourself when you have crossed a specific cost threshold. So that's it. That's it for today. If you enjoyed and learned something from this video, so please like and subscribe to my channel, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you and bye.